Okay, good morning, everyone. It's really nice to see you again here today. Today we still have our keynote speaker, our Professor Baharom, to give you a presentation about the continuation from the previous day. It's about the effect of COVID-19 on the Malaysians small medium enterprises. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope everyone in a good condition. So. So today we will go directly to the presentation from Professor Baharom, and then at the end of this event, we will have our dean to have the closing remarks. Okay, so without further ado, please welcome Professor Baharom. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Madam Yasmin. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. Coming back, Alhamdulillah. Again, I would like to thank the moderator, Madam Yasmin, for assisting us in this discussion. As I said, this is more of a discussion. It shouldn't be in the form of lecture, right? Okay. So you are free to ask questions afterwards, and you are free to give your opinions even. That is what this discussion is all about. So yesterday we talked about the issues of COVID-19 in Malaysia and how much it has affected the life and the living of the people of Malaysia. And I believe we are sharing the same experience, right? Looking at the way that we are doing now, the way they're meeting now. This is the results of COVID-19. You know, we have to be separated in different places. You know, everything is done on online. And at the same time, not only that our lives have changed, the conditions of our business operations have also changed. They have also been affected by this pandemic. And the longer it is now, then we see the bigger problem that we're facing in future. Right? There are some good things that come with this pandemic. At least now we are more technology savvy. At least now we know how to use the internet. We know how to use all these different kinds of platforms. At least nowadays we are quite concerned with our hygiene. You know, we are asked to clean our hands, wash our hands every so often. At least now we stay at home even more, right? Before this, everybody's out of the house, but now everybody's at home for a very long time even. At least now this is the time that we try to improve our bonding between family members. Okay, so behind all this pandemic, there are still some good things that we can benefit from it. Okay, so enjoy while it lasts, and we do not know how long it's going to last. But hope that it will give us as much benefit as it is causing us trouble. So today what we will do is we'll look at the, yesterday also we talked at the problem with this SMEs. And today what we will do is we will look at the assistance of the government. What the government has been doing in terms of relieving the people and the businesses with the effect of this COVID-19. And I believe every government has done the same thing. As I mentioned yesterday, Malaysia, we have a lot of stimulus package that we have created for the people. And I believe your government is also doing the same thing. It's just that perhaps the difference between all these countries, I think almost every country have their own stimulus package, but the size of that stimulus package may not be the same. In Malaysia, for example, we spend about 10% of our GDP for the stimulus package, right? 10%. In the case of Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken, you spend about 2.5% of your GDP, depending on depending on the reserves that we have. Singapore, for example, even though it is such a small state, right? But they're spending about 20% of the GDP for this stimulus thing, right? In the US, they spend like 10.9% or 11% for that matter. So these stimulus packages and all those different kinds of assistance given by the government is for the purpose of boosting the economy, right? Assisting all these SMEs, assisting the people who are affected by this pandemic. And it is rightly so that the government should be more proactive. The government should be more concerned, because we are talking about the future of the country, right? We mentioned yesterday that as far as SMEs is concerned, they are actually the backbone of the economy. So should anything go wrong with our SMEs, they are not operating for reasons of this pandemic, then we would have a big problem later on. So that's why governments are very concerned about assisting these SMEs. And even more, we as the common people, the government also pay serious attention, right? They do understand that a lot of us have lost our jobs. A lot of us have our salary being cut. Some of us have been terminated. Many different kinds of positions that we are in, right? So the stimulus package created by the government is actually to make it easy on the people and also on the SMEs as well. Just to keep us, just to keep us aloft, so that we don't suffer so much. Okay, so the more money that is pumped in the stimulus package, then meaning that we have a better kind of welfare given by the government. So today what we will look into is that we will look at all those different kinds of stimulus packages as far as Malaysia is concerned. There are lots of them. And what more, we also have some assistance from the government in the form of from budget next year. Also, a lot of allocations has been set for the people and for the SMEs as well. So what we will do afterwards is to look at all those different packages that we are offering to the Malaysian SMEs, and perhaps you can compare them with what, for example, as a student, perhaps you may compare this with what your government is offering the Indonesian people. Right? Comparing is nothing. At least we know the maybe something that you can learn from both countries, right? Indonesia and Malaysia. Now, yesterday I mentioned that due to this due to this pandemic, a lot of companies, they are closing down, right? They close business because reasons being they have problems in the cash flow, they have problems paying for the rental, they have problems paying back the loans that they have taken from the banks, they have problems paying emolument, which is the salary of the employees. So because of all these reasons, a lot of companies have actually stopped business, right? Because they cannot afford to continue on without any business coming in. And some statistics says that more than 1,000 SMEs have actually stopped business. But in a report by the Registrars of Society, there are about 10,000 more application for registration. 10,000 more application for registration to start a business, right? 1,000 plus is closing down, but more are applying. And this is quite a concern, personally, I think, because, in this kind of condition, when people are closing down the business, why is it that there are so many other people who are applying to start a business? Right, so it is quite a puzzle with this kind of condition. But the only thing that I can think of in this situation that we are in, perhaps all this application for registration, as I said, we have about 10,000 of them. This is the latest one. Perhaps I would believe this is basically because of this assistance that the government is giving. I think these people are trying to take advantage of all the incentives, all those assistance that the government is giving now. So I think this is the best time for them to start registering and get all those good benefits from what the government is giving them. Right? This could be one of the reasons, because it doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense. You see that business is not really good, but now you are starting a business, right? You're applying to start a business, so something is just not right. So my conclusion is perhaps these people who are applying to start a business, maybe they are going after the incentives that is given by the government, right? So this is the best time for them to register, and once they have registered, I think they are also eligible to apply for all these different assistance by the government. Okay, so we'll just wait and see and what happens. As I said, sometimes we are worried because these people, they are very enthusiastic to start a business, right? Everybody is looking now on online businesses, but in terms of sustainability, in terms of resilience, that is a second question. We do not know whether these people who are applying, whether they would be able to maintain their business after the COVID situation. And I'm also skeptical about this assistance by the government. We know that this is very important for the government to assist the people, but my worry is that the change of mentality should be there, right? Entrepreneurs, for example, if you find that in Malaysia even, the most companies that is affected are those micro entrepreneurs, the small businesses, the smaller the small business. And these people, actually, the mentality of waiting for assistance, right? So there is a tendency for people to have that tendency of just wanting the government to help them, right? We don't have the mentality of striving on our own. I fear that will be the case, right? Because you know, some of us, we would rather just sit back and wait for the government to assist us rather than we strive for ourselves, right? Because if that is the mentality of just waiting for the government to subsidize, waiting for the government to help us, then, you know, once the buck stops, then everything goes. Once the government stop the assistance, the subsidy, then I fear that the same thing will go out, will be the same for the all the small businesses. So as I said, assistance is good, but then I think on the part of the entrepreneurs, there must be some change in the mindset rather than just waiting for the government to assist them. A very dangerous mentality, right? Opportunities are there, they're taking these opportunities, but then again, they themselves have to strive on their own, right? Like you people, you students, for example, you cannot just expect that your lecturers will give you all the notes, right? At the same time, you have to take your own incentive to look for information, to find information, right? What is given by your lecturers is just not enough. You have to find more. Only that is what learning is all about. Learning is not about waiting for your lecturers to give you notes, right? That is not a learning mentality, right? You should strive on your own, find more information, argue if it is all necessary, argue with your lecturers. If it is, you know, if you think it is necessary, then argue with your lecturers. Yeah, our lectures are not necessarily correct. So likewise, in the issues of this SME and all the assistance that is given by the government, I fear that that kind of mentality will eventually develop. Right? We don't want our entrepreneurs, right, to be just having that kind of mentality, waiting for other people to assist them, waiting for the government to assist them. So I hope that this kind of mentality will not develop out of all this assistance that the government is giving them. Okay, let's cross our fingers and hope for the best, inshallah. So what I will present to you afterwards is basically the types of stimulus package, right, that is given by the government, focusing on different sectors of the SMEs. Some focuses on the women entrepreneurs, some focuses on micro entrepreneurs. So different kinds of package is targeted for different kinds of audience. Okay, so but again, this is what is available in Malaysia, and perhaps the same goes to your country as well. So let me just share the notes. Okay, so the assistance for SMEs during and post COVID-19 Malaysia and the way forward. So at the end of the slides, perhaps I will be discussing with you this issue of COVID-19, the issue of SMEs, and what should be done. I'm not saying that I'm solving the problem, but I am looking from the marketing perspective, right? So what can we as the owners of SMEs, what can we do in terms of, staying alive during this kind of a period, right? What should have been done? What kind of strategy should be taken so that we are able to sustain ourselves rather than wait for other people to assist us. And for businesses, I believe that this is the kind of mentality that we should have. You have to have creativity, you have to have determination, you have to have resilience. These are all the good qualities of a business people, and this is, I think, what is lacking. Okay, so we will talk about that later. So the assistance for SMEs during and post COVID-19 Malaysia and the way forward. Now, these are basically the some of the assistance given by the Bank Negara itself, right? Focusing on 5 different areas and with 5 different objectives. For example, the first one is Special Relief Facility (SRF) COVID-19 with an amount of 5 billion. Right? It is done basically to alleviate short-term cash flow problems faced by SMEs affected by the COVID. This 5 billion is actually focusing on the cash flow, how this SMEs can use the money, at least to use the money for the operations of the business. Okay. Also, we have All Economic Sectors Facility (AES), also with quite a big amount, 6.8 billion. And also with a different objective, that is to enhance access in financing for SMEs in all corporate sectors, all economic sectors. So this is more of like a guarantee for these SMEs when they make loans. So this is a guarantee by the government that, should anything happen, then they will be covered by the government. There is the special fund for digitalization, knowing that now, internet is the most important thing nowadays for communication, for learning and everything. So the government is putting some money so that they can upgrade the quality of communication within the country, and this also helps those SMEs that is in charge, that is involved in communications. 1 billion is set aside for agriculture products. And then we have micro enterprises facility for with 300 million, focusing only on those micro entrepreneurs. And they have their own purposes, and also they have their own timeline. They have also their, the maximum loan that they can make out of any one of these 5 kinds of package given by the government. Other than that, we have Bis Mula I and Bis Wanita schemes. These 2 schemes are actually directed for financing the credit guarantee Malaysia Berhad for businesses that is less than 4 years. So especially this is for new businesses. And I also believe that this is one of the opportunities that will be taken by all these new startups, right? Those people who have just applied for registration of the business. I think they are going for this kind of assistance. This assistance is especially for those companies that is below 4 years of age. We have the government guarantee schemes by SJPP atau Syarikat Jaminan Pembiayaan Perniagaan, also to assist them in terms of guarantee for the loans. We have the government guarantee scheme by Dana Jamin. This is quite a lot of money, 50 billion worth of guarantee provided to Dana Jamin Nasional Berhad for viable businesses in all sectors facing the difficulties. So this is not particularly targeting on just SMEs, but all kinds of businesses, even large businesses also, given this kind of assistance. There's a special grant for micro SMEs. A total of 2.1 billion has been allocated to benefit 700 micro SMEs in the country. As we have seen yesterday, we have about 625, if I'm not mistaken, 625,000 micro SMEs, micro entrepreneurs, because they are the largest portion of SMEs, and that is why quite a big amount of money is set for them. And we have microsector business recovery financing scheme. A total amount of 200 million has been allocated for the scheme, and to be chosen between microcredit and the CBRM, right? And then we have employer COVID-19 assistance program. It aims to assist employers so that they can continue retain jobs. So we don't want these employers to simply terminate the employees, for reasons of they are not able to pay the employees. So in order to save that from happening, the government is actually assisting the organizations by giving them some kind of allowance, right? So that they can actually try to defer the termination of the employees. Right, the program is estimated at 10 billion to benefit 480 SMEs, besides securing more than 8 million jobs in Malaysia. Right, so the more jobs are lost, then the more problem will be in. So the government is trying to stop this. We have employer advisory services. In addition to the employer advisory services, they have launched the ECAP to defer and restructure employment contributions. This is when you have to pay your part for the EPF, Employees Provident Fund in Malaysia. Human Resource Development Levy exemption. For human resource development, registered employers, the payment of the mandatory human resource HRD levy has been exempted for 6 months, right? So they can, that can be deferred for 6 months. And then we have postponement of income tax installment payments, right? So these are all basically expenses by the company. So the government is trying to alleviate all this, make it easy for the organizations. So regarding the monthly income tax installment payments to the Inland Revenue Board, IRS, all SMEs are allowed to postpone payments for a period of 3 months instead of the 6 months deferment for the tourism sector and industry, as announced earlier. So for the tourism industry, we give them 6 months, and for the other businesses, we allow for 3 months, right? And then we have wage subsidy program. So the government is also paying partly for the salary of eligible employees. As an extension of the employer retention program, the government will subsidize the salary of eligible employees with a total allocation of 5.9 billion to the employee insurance system. And then we have DIII-Keuangan program. It's also another program which is the collaboration between Bank Islam and also the Majlis Agama Islam Wilayah Persekutuan, also aim at assisting all these SMEs. So these are basically the economic stimulus packages that is designed for a short-term period, during this COVID situation, so that it will assist the SMEs to at least survive and maintain their business until this problem is over. So on top of that, next year there were a lot of other promises given by the government from the budget 2021, also focusing on the SMEs as well. Okay, so for example, these are funds that is allocated to support entrepreneurship by the millions. For example, the first 150 million will be allocated for training programs, and I think this is very important because as far as entrepreneurs are concerned, especially the micro entrepreneurs, what they lack is, as research says, some of them they lack the experience, they lack the knowledge, they lack the business knowledge. So perhaps this training scheme allowance given by the government is rightly due for them, so that they be more prepared with business knowledge. Another 150 million will go towards the Shop Malaysia Online initiative, and 35 million for Malaysia-made products. Right, that will save us a lot of money. 95 million will be allocated for microcredit financing. 4.6 billion will be allocated to empower women entrepreneurs. For your information, most of these SMEs, they are owned by women entrepreneurs. About 70 to 80% of them, they are owned by women entrepreneurs. So that is why the government are very concerned about this. 2 billion is targeted aid will be provided for SMEs, and tax incentive for certain industries will be extended for until 2022. 1 billion will be allocated towards encouraging investment. Those in the agriculture sector, somebody was asking about agriculture sector. Those in the agriculture sector will have a slice of the 60 million for modernization programs in the supply chain, and 100 million for high impact and high value agriculture and livestock operations. This would include machines. This will include all those materials that is required for agriculture. In terms of wage subsidy, the government is also assisting organizations such as SMEs in paying partly for the salary of the employees. So 1.5 billion is to extend wage subsidy program for another 3 months in targeted manner, particularly for those in the tourism sector. For information, also the most affected sector in this SME is the tourism sector. We talk about all those chalets, we talk about hotels, we talk about even big ones like all those airline companies. These are the most affected because business is not there. People are not moving around. An estimated 70,000 employees and 900 workers are expected to benefit from this. Right, so the government gave a subsidy of up to 600 ringgit for one employee, depending on the situation. So add on employees who have fresh graduates. So as I said yesterday, as far as these companies, the government is willing to assist them in terms of paying for new employees. If they employ new employees, then the government will pay 1,000 ringgit for each of this for 3 months. Right, so this is the time when I think the opportunity taken by a lot of SMEs to to recruit more employees because they actually paid by the government, at least for the first 3 months. So hopefully then after that they'll be able to stand on their own. This is Penjana Kerjaya incentive, also part of the budget 2021. Employees will be given an additional incentive of 20% to encourage job opportunities for people with disabilities, those who are unemployed long-term, and workers who have been terminated. So as I said yesterday, even though we see that a lot of people are being terminated, at the same time, we see that the employment rate is increasing, perhaps because of this incentive, right? The employers, the SMEs, they're trying to take advantage of all the assistance government is giving to system in paying for the employees. For the sectors that have high reliance on foreign workers, such as those in construction and plantation sectors, special incentive of 60% of the monthly salary will be provided. 40% of that will be channeled to the employees, 20% will be for the local employees. These incentives will last for a period of 6 months. Employers who hire talents under Penjana Kerjaya, the maximum cost of the training program will also be paid for the government. It will be raised from 4,000 to 7,000 for employees to undergo high-skill programs for professional certificate programs. Also, there are some tax exemption promised for next year. Companies that hire senior citizens, this is what I said yesterday, even senior citizens are considered for this. The companies that hire senior citizens will have a tax exemption. Meanwhile, companies that hire former convicts and even drug addicts will have an extension of tax exemption. I do not know whether this is possible, but whether the companies will take this offer. But looking at the situation now, perhaps this is also one good incentive for organizations to increase the number of employees. And even now, they can even employ convicts and drug addicts to become part of their labor force. To support high-tech and innovative companies, a high technology fund of 500 million will be provided by the Bank Negara to support high-tech and innovative sector companies. Those companies that is involved in IT, they get the benefit of this. Local productions, local-made products. The National Development Scheme worth 1.5 billion will be allocated to support the implementation of domestic supply chain. The Human Resource Development Fund will levy the exemptions for companies in the tourism sector and those that are still affected by COVID for 6 months. Okay, this is quite boring, I know, but this is just to show you the kind of assistance that the government is planning to give for our SMEs. 1 billion will go towards a digitalization transformation scheme. As I said, we will do something with the information highway. 150 million in grants will be given for the digitalization and automation of SMEs. The government also allocate nearly 1.2 billion for microcredit schemes. I think that is about all that the government is willing to give. Then we have boosting crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is another way of getting people to invest. Those people with large amounts of money, they don't know what to do with this. They can take part in this crowdfunding, whereby they would invest, and tax 50% exemption tax will be given based on what they have invested in any company. 30 million will be allocated to a matching grant that will be invested into ECF platforms under the supervision of the Securities Commission. So the list goes on and on. I think there could be more than what we have looked at just now. Different kinds of schemes and different kinds of assistance that the government is willing to give to our SMEs. So hopefully all this assistance will be benefit our SMEs, and that they will be able to revive again once this pandemic problem is over. Now, looking at, as I said, looking at all those assistance by the government, I fear that, you know, that will somehow create the mentality of dependence. You know, because we don't want our SMEs, our entrepreneurs to rely very much on what the government is assisting them. They themselves, as I said, they should have the energy, they should have the, you know, determination to, you know, to rise on their own rather than hoping for the government assistance. So from a marketing perspective, I see that there are some things that can be looked at in terms of you know, motivation, a kind of motivation for all these SMEs, the trouble SMEs. You know, on the part of getting the assistance of the government is good. You know, at least it is there. But at the same time, as I said, they should also work on their own. You know, and I see that there's some areas that can be emphasized of these SMEs, so that, you know, they will have the strength of their own to move forward. Okay, the assistance by the government is just a bonus for them. You know, it may assist them in the short run, but in the long run, you know, they have to eventually work on their own, right? The money that is coming in, one day it will stop, right? So unless you do something, then your business will stop there as well. You know, that is the mentality of just simply waiting for the government to assist us. So if the money stops, then we still have to go on. And what do we need? But I believe, you know, there could be a lot of other suggestions given by people. But from my point of view, there are three things that should be focused by our SMEs, especially so those at the lower layer of the SMEs, which is the micro entrepreneurs, right? I would personally suggest that these companies, these organizations start focusing on customer relationships, right? What is customer relationships? It is the way in which a business and the customers feel or behave towards each other over a period of time, and the effect of this on the business, right? So customer relationship is all about how do you treat your customer. The aim of marketing is actually to create this relationship. At the end of the day, we want to have good relationship with our customers, right? And this relationship is based on trust. It is based on commitment. It is based on honesty. So as we deal with our customers, perhaps before this or after this, we should focus on customer relationships, right? Because in the end, if you have good relationship with your customers, we know that a lot of things will come as a result of good relationship that we have with our customers, right? The trust will be there. We are willing to help each other. Good customers, they actually they will become our eyes and ears. They will assist us in terms of identifying what products is required. You know, this will happen if we have good relationship with our customers, right? To the point that it is said that we should make our customers as our partner, right? So that they will assist us, because loyal customers, they are, you know, they will do everything for us, right? They will spread the good words about us, you know, the positive word of mouth. Good customers will actually, you know, they will assist us in giving us ideas. But this kind of relationship will only happen if we are truthful to our customers, right? So this is no longer a one-off transaction, right? Those days when we deal with our business, with our customers, normally we, you know, the focus is more on making profits. But now people are seeing the importance of these relationships, right? So the more loyal customers that you have, then you don't have to worry about the new ones. It is said that 5% of loyal customers, they are better than 95% of new customers, right? If you have loyal customers, you don't have to worry about, repeat purchase. And in this day of age, as we see the problems that we're facing nowadays, the issue of COVID-19, people are not leaving their houses. People have all the time, they have many options at the fingertips. This is the time whereby your relationship with your customers will be tested, right? To what extent that your customers are willing to stay with you. To what extent that this customers of yours, they are willing to assist you, right? On top of that, despite all the challenges that they have, despite all the options that they have, nowadays, when you just turn on your computers, there are so many options available to you, right? And this is the time whereby good customers, they will stick with you. They will still buy from you, even though, they are faced with this kind of a situation. So I would emphasize for these SMEs to focus on customer relationships, right? Try to make your customers to trust you, and you should also be truthful to your customers, right? Helping each other, understanding each other. Both parties, the seller and the buyer, they should eventually, create a win-win situation, right? So we respect our customers, the customers respect us, and this is the time whereby we need that kind of assistance from our customers, right? They will still be with us, they will still buy from us, even though they are faced with this kind of a situation, whatever situation they are in. But if you know that these people are our true friends, then you can rest assured that they will still be with us, right? So unfortunately, this has not been the emphasis for a lot of companies, right? I wouldn't say majority, but there are still companies that focuses on making profits, right? Without even considering the relationships. So relationships are very important, right? So relationship will go a very long way. So first is to focus on customer relationships. The second thing is that I would suggest that these companies to be more flexible and agile. And agility means that the distinct qualities that allow organizations to respond rapidly to the changes in the internal and external environment without losing momentum or vision. I think this is one of the biggest problem of our SMEs, right? Especially the micro entrepreneurs, because for the micro entrepreneurs, their businesses are very small. Normally, they are family-owned business, right? Small store, for example, and this entrepreneurs, this kind of entrepreneurs, they don't have that, not say they're not knowledgeable, but they lack knowledge about the business, about the requirement of a business, how to not just to run the business, but to manage the business better. Some of them, they are not creative enough to change, right? So in these situations that we are in, I believe that companies need to be agile. They have to be able to change the operations. They have to be able to change the strategy as the situation requires. Now that, for example, we have the issue of COVID-19, whereby people are buying online. So I think this is the best time that they should also change their business strategy and focusing on online as well, right? But unfortunately for small businesses, as I said, they are not actually exposed to this kind of a knowledge, how to actually transform their business into to be positive towards the internet. Not people selling kuih, for example, right? These are all very small businesses, and normally they are not really aware of the advantage of using technology for the business. So resulting in once one avenue is closed, for example, when people cannot move out, so that is the end of the business. That is why I believe that a lot of business closed because of that reasons. They are not able to change. They are not able to be flexible enough to change according to the needs of time. So the government assistance in the form of training, I think that is a very good thing, right? At least more training is required for these people, not only in the areas of managing a business, but at the same time, I believe training in the form of using technology also is rather crucial for them to learn. At least with this, now they'll be able to respond quickly to changes. They'll be able to become agile and change the structure, the strategy of the business. And thirdly, I would believe that this organization should also go digital, meaning that now they should also focus on online business as well, not only just the face-to-face, but you know, using the internet is one of those important things that that is the trend now, right? Meaning that transforming business operations by leveraging digital technologies and the broader use and context of digitized data turn into intelligence and actionable knowledge. Perhaps the smaller ones, the ones that with a small number of employees, they may not be able to do this. But at least when you talk about the small and the medium industries, I believe they have actually focused on going digital. So these are the three things that I believe that should be the focus in future. These are the things that should be the emphasis of all our SMEs. Even it should have been implemented before COVID, but perhaps we still have time. You know, we can maybe after this COVID-19 issues is over, perhaps they should work on this, right? To work on customer relations. On top of this, there are so many other things they should focus on. But the way I see it, this is three important things that these SMEs should focus on if they are to survive in future, right? And take out all those subsidy mentality. We don't want them to be dependent on the government all time. We want them to be able to stand on their own, right? So that they will have a better future, so that they will have a better chance of surviving in the stable economies, right? So we do not know what will happen in future. Perhaps after this COVID-19, there could be another issues that is affecting us all, or we hope that there will be none. But if there is, then perhaps I think this is the time whereby the SMEs, the companies, can start implement all these three elements into the business. On top of that, as I said, a lot of other things. We talk about product quality, we talk about technology, we talk about other things. These are also important as well. Okay, so this is looking from the marketing perspective. This is based on what I see. And then perhaps there could be other ideas, there could be other suggestions by other people. But the way I see it, this is among the three things that is very important for our future SMEs. So I'm opening up to questions now, if there's any question. It is best if you ask questions rather than, you know, I'm stating this like a lecture.
Prof?
They can.
Sorry, sorry, I couldn't catch up what you said just now, because suddenly your connection is like something wrong with.
Something wrong.
Yes.
Some money for
your
internet. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yes, okay now. Just now I didn't
okay.
I didn't catch what you said.
So I was saying to the students, if they have any questions, they may ask now, because we have to set some time for the decan to close the.
Okay. So we would like to discuss the question from them, Prof, now. Maybe we check one by one from the.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want them to get bored. At least when they ask questions, they can open their eyes. Any questions from the floor?
Yes. Actually, they have written in the chat room, but I try to read for you.
Yes,
From
please.
Felicia. Felicia, are you there? If you want me to read your question or you want to talk directly to the professor. Okay.
I think you just read it.
Okay, just read. Okay. Good morning, Prof. I'm Felicia from the Faculty of Economics and Business. Okay, I have question. Could you give me information on how the government effort to improve the ability of micro entrepreneur in facing the dynamic changing? Probably she wants to know about the detail. Sure.
Okay. As I've stated before this, all those lists, the long list of assistance given by the government, and it is targeted for different purposes, right? As far as the assistance are concerned, a lot have been focused on the micro entrepreneurs, for example, the Penjana scheme, the taxation scheme. These are some of the examples of assistance given by the government for the micro entrepreneurs. Because as you look at the definition, uh, micro entrepreneurs are also included as part of the SMEs, right? It's just that they are at the bottom level and they are the largest portion. So assistance by the government is rather comprehensive. It covers all, but there are some which focuses only for the micro entrepreneurs, right? For example, like the training scheme, like the as I said, tax exemption, also cases like paying partly for the salary of the employees. So these are some of the assistance which covers almost all part of the SMEs, regardless of whether you are SME, whether you're small business, you're medium business, or even you're micro entrepreneurs. So basically, the assistance are some of them, they are very much generalized. It covers everyone. So the list that I've given you before this, normally it covers the micro entrepreneurs as well.
Yes, okay. Okay. I think Felicia, I hope the answer is fine for you. I think the next question actually is related with the previous question, but it's a more detailed. What kind of training from Fahruzi Hasibuan? What kind of training provided by the government for SME? Yes, for SME. Is there any follow-up training for them to update their skill? And is there any monitoring evaluation of the training impact, like before and after training? Thank you, Prof. Probably is
Okay.
related actually.
Right. As far as training is concerned, as I've shown you before this, a certain amount of money has been allocated for the training and retraining of these the owners of these SMEs, right? Training in the form of technology, training in the form of managing a business, training in the form of accounting. So different kinds of training are catered for different kinds of businesses, depending on, normally this is done based on request of the individuals. They request what kind of training they require, and the government will definitely, as I said, give some kind of training. We do have some institutions of learning that is catered for the training of entrepreneurs. We have Intan, for example. Intan is I would say that this is part of the government arm into training the government employees. They train all these entrepreneurs depending on what is requested by the people. And definitely, as I said, when training is given, definitely there'll be some kind of monitoring. There'll always be some kind of evaluation given to see the effectiveness of all these kinds of training, right? And normally, after training, there will be some officials who will be interviewing these entrepreneurs and say just to make sure that they do learn something from that. It is not just a matter of being there, but at least they'll be able to implement what they have learned into their business environment, right? So as I said, whatever money spent, definitely going to see the ROI, right? So the government is doing this as well. Definitely there'll be some kind of evaluation to see the effectiveness of the training. Right?
Okay.
So all kinds of training regarding, as I said before, this IT training, there'll be some accounting training, whatever is required, then this is what the government will offer.
So that's the standard that the government will do the monitoring and
Right,
evaluation of
definitely
the
yes,
impact.
definitely yes.
Mhm.
Because money
Okay.
is spent,
Mhm. Thank you, Prof. And then the next question from Johanna Agnes Saragi. Prof, I want to ask, I heard from media that a lot of people in Malaysia who are in need of those incentive or assistance for their business to keep going, but they don't receive it. More and more people falling into poverty because of the COVID-19, but they don't get any help from the government, even the most simple things. What do you think is this?
Okay, it's a good question. This is something that you have to ask the top people. But this is rather sensitive issue,
Of
right?
course.
Because sometimes this is not the problem with the government. It is basically sometimes the problem with the you know the implementation body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the government have given all these different kinds of incentives,
Mm-hmm.
but whether it reaches to the right people or not, then that is also a question mark, right? That is not for us to question because that is within the government. And also, then again, those news that you have read, we have to be very careful because you have to look at the source of your reading.
Yes.
Sometimes it is written by the opposition party.
Okay.
Sometimes it is written by those people who don't like the government. There could be so many other
Yes.
reasons for people to write such things. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as the government is concerned, if they have promised this, normally that they will fulfill whatever promise that's been. Right,
Yes.
it's just a matter of monitoring. Sometimes we like monitoring, but assistance is there. But there's always this red tapes. There's always this different kinds of problems that you see. Especially when you try to give assistance to the people. Sometimes there's always problem at the middle of this process.
Yes, I think it's same things here.
Yeah,
Although the government have that kind of regulation, but still at the end in the grassroots, probably because like us, we are very in the big countries. I've read in one newspaper, they said that because there is a confusing identification, like the ID maybe not match and etc. So thank you, Johanna, for asking this
yeah.
question.
For example, even in Malaysia, you see, in Sabah and Sarawak, for example, especially in Sabah, because we have so many foreigners, we have a lot of
Mm,
people who come in illegally, right?
I see.
So
Mm-hmm.
and this is rather confusing,
Mm-hmm.
especially the issue of fake IDs. People are
Mm-hmm.
creating fake
Yes,
IDs, so we have
exactly.
problems in terms of deciding who is eligible actually.
Yes.
Some people, even though they're not eligible, they will still apply. And it becomes a big task for us to identify who are those people that are really eligible for
Yeah.
all these assistance.
Yes.
But some people, even though they're not eligible, they will still apply. Unfortunately, people have greed in their heart. Uh,
Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's some things everywhere, not just in
yeah,
Indonesia,
you're,
Malaysia. Yeah, I think
you're
it's
talking about
everywhere.
human beings.
Yes.
Recently, just to share with you, I do not know. I hope this is not true. One of the newspapers, they come up with a very short article saying that Malaysia is #1 in the ranking of most corrupted country.
Hi. Is it?
Yeah, we are very surprised.
I'm surprised.
Unfortunately, but
Yeah.
we are still trying to find who is the writer of that particular article.
I think you can track. You can
Yeah,
trace
yeah,
who. I don't know. He or
yeah.
she probably maybe a organization or
Sometimes the source is not correct. Sometimes
yeah.
even when you do research, sometimes there are some flaws in your research.
Yeah. It's
And then
it's.
it's very normal, unfortunately.
Maybe the comparison is, I mean, the indicators. You have to check the indicators then.
Right, the methodology sometimes it is wrong. Your sample could have been wrong.
Yes, yes. Okay. For the next question, from Andy Lolo, he wants to ask about, is there any special treatment by the government toward the SMEs in the food sector in order to keep up the basic living stocks like food and daily supplies, or any sector will get the same treatment?
If you look at the all these different allocations,
Mm-hmm.
except for those that we consider as dangerously affected, like the tourism industry, definitely there's a separate package for them. But in other sectors, normally it is made general throughout, meaning that it's open to all sectors, right? But of course, as I said, there are some areas whereby special allocation is given for certain industries that we find really need the help. But the rest of them, I think, is about the same. It depends on who apply and whether they're eligible or not.
Okay.
Assistance are there.
Okay, thank you, Prof. The next question will be from Fadila. Do you believe that this special package or incentive from the government will be like the hidden evil for the small medium enterprises, feeling like spoiling them and make them less struggling to the worst condition?
That's what I'm saying at the beginning of this. The assistance is good, the intention is good. It's just that the people who are at the receiving end, whether how do they take it? Have they take it as an incentive for them, meaning that this is an assistance for them to move forward, and as I said, the requirement for them to be able to sustain themselves, be able to work on their own, this assistance is very good. But at the same time, as I said, we fear that this kind of assistance will create that kind of a dependence mentality. You are too dependent on the government, so you're not able to move on your own. Right? The good thing on the part of the government, they have to do this, like it or not, they still have to do this. But it is on the receiving end of that assistance, right? The SMEs themselves. That is why I said just now, people are taking this opportunity. The number of business registration has increased tenfold during this COVID period. So we see that people are taking advantage of whatever the government is giving to the people. This is a time whereby they can make some money. But again, as I said, whether there is any real resilience, whether they are able to maintain, that is secondary. Unfortunately, that is something that have yet to be seen. As I said, once the money stops, we do not know whether they will stop too.
Yes.
Right?
Probably government can reduce gradually, not in the instant time, right?
That is why some of the incentives, they do have their timeline for 6 months, for example, and so at least we can prepare ourselves.
Yes.
Lots of money are there.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Prof. Now we have Isaac. He said that he wants to ask you directly. So is it Isaac? Are you there?
Isaac?
Yes. Yes,
okay, then
yes,
you can
Isaac.
ask to the professor directly.
Okay, morning, Prof. I want to ask, what kind of stimulus does the government give? Is it like loans that you must pay back in 5 to 10 years, or government give it for free? And also I want to ask, does every Malaysian state get the same amount of this stimulus? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, first we talk about these different kinds of assistance by the government, whether it is for free or is it more of a form of a loan, right? Some of them, especially those that is assisted by the banks, they are definitely in the form of loans, right? These are in the form of loans. And those assistance that is given by the tax department is basically in the form of tax exemption. And there are some that is given by the government based on the need of that particular organization. As I said, the assistance given for you to maintain your employees, right? In some cases, the government will pay half of the salary of that particular employees, so that the employer will not terminate them. So different kinds of assistance targeting different places. But as I said, if the assistance comes from the financial institution, normally it is more of a form of loan. And the government also do offer some kind of loan to this SMEs. But then again, the rate will be different. The requirement is different, right? So some they don't have to pay back. Some definitely they have to pay back. Right, so depending on what kind of need is there for that particular organization. Some organizations they don't have that many employees, so they don't have that kind of assistance in terms of employee salary. Some they may require in the form of cash flow. So different kinds of need. Then there is always different kinds of assistance given. And you were saying whether this is made general to all people? Definitely yes. But then again, the government is focusing on those people in the B40 category. In Malaysia, we have three different kinds of category. We have B40, which is those people earning below 4,000. This is B40. And we have M40. This is the second or the middle class, not to say middle class, but middle income, more of middle income. These are those people earning about 4,000 to 10,000. And we have, we have M40, and the highest level is T20. Meaning that 20% of the population earns more than 10,000. So this assistance by the government largely focusing on B40, right? Because they are the lower income group. And the assistance comes in the form of some kind of one-off payment for them. Each individual, they will get this, the B40. It also depends on the size of your family. It also depends on what kind of condition that you are in. If they lost the jobs, then there is another kind of allowance given to them. Right. So meaning that I would say that this covers almost everyone, except for those in the as I said, the T20 or even M40 is also not getting that much help because they are not really in trouble, unless if they are terminated, then the government will assist them. Okay, so different kinds of incentives, different kinds of stimulus given for different kinds of people. But I would say that each one of us will benefit from this this kind of assistance from the government. No one is spared actually. They are assisted in one way or the other.
Okay, Isaac. Okay, Isaac. Did you get it?
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
good then.
Anyone else?
Next is we have Hafiza Hanifa. Prof, I would like to ask, is there any involvement from education institution to conduct the training for SMEs?
As I said, the government has their own training arm, but at the same time, universities also, they do offer their services. But you know, when such training is handled by the universities, by educational institutions, normally they will charge the government, right, depending on the cost involved. But these are cases whereby the training arm of the government is not able to handle so much programs, right? But if they are able to do that, normally they will do it and not giving the training opportunities to other institutions, not even universities. So unless they are really loaded with all this training, then if there's any need for more training, then this is when they will request the assistance from universities.
Okay.
Normally, at the university level, a lot of training is handled for the private sector. We do handle that, but for government employees, for all these different kinds of government sectors, they do have their own training programs.
Like us here, actually, Prof, we as a lecturer, we have the responsibility to do the community services, and usually once in a year we have to do that. So sometimes what we do from the economics and business is we conduct training with collaboration with the government, like you have mentioned before. We just concentrate on the area that cannot reach by the government. For example, because like here in Medan, we have so many entrepreneurs that sometimes cannot be detected by the government, but we can, so we do the training for them. Of course,
on request. Is it on request?
Sometimes it's not on their request, but we are the one who do the detection. Yes.
Very nice of you. But it's only because it is a requirement. If not, I don't think you will propose.
That's the behind reason. That's the underlying reason. Because the responsibility. Okay.
So in Malaysia we don't have such. Yes. In Malaysia we don't have such requirement, right?
I see. Wonderful.
Yeah. Welcome to Malaysia. But then again, we do it on a voluntary basis. Especially when we have students on campus, we do have a lot of programs that cater for this community services, helping the local people, the communities around the campus.
Yes.
We do have that, but now everything seems to be stopped because of this COVID-19. But
Yes.
they will continue again, inshallah.
Yes.
Okay, how do you do, Prof. Ramli?
Oh, Prof. Ramli is already here.
Yeah.
Selamat pagi, Prof. Oh, apakah kita mau lanjut sebentar, Pak Dekan, atau kita langsung, atau Pak Dekan ingin menyampaikan sesuatu? Karena di sini memang ada 2 pertanyaan lagi, tapi saya mengikut saja. Masih di mute, Pak Isbir, masih di mute itu, belum ininya, speakernya. Ya.
Maybe I want to ask you about how the government Malaysia to support small entrepreneurs. Maybe different with our government. So I want to to know, yeah, the government Malaysia to support small, medium enterprise.
Okay, terima kasih. Prof, kalau nak kita lihat, we take one simple example, nelayan, right? Which I think you're very interested in nelayan, right? As far as Malaysia is concerned, this fisherman atau nelayan, compared to a lot of other countries, the nelayan in Malaysia, they have a lot of privileges given to them.
Yeah.
Right? Contohnya dari segi bantuan untuk boat, bantuan dari segi insurance, bantuan dari segi perumahan, bantuan daripada allowance bulanan. Just menunjukkan satu contoh bahawa dalam industri perikanan sendiri terdapat banyak bantuan-bantuan yang diberikan oleh kerajaan. Dan apatah lagi when we talk about other industries, the SMEs, as you were saying, kalau kita kirakan memang kita punya SMEs di Malaysia ini sangat-sangat dimanjakan. Pada saya sangat-sangat dimanjakan kerana terlalu banyak sangat bantuan yang diberikan. Baik dalam bentuk latihan percuma, baik dalam bentuk allowance yang diberikan, terlalu banyak yang diberikan. Itu yang saya katakan tadi dalam perbincangan, saya mengatakan bahawa kita khawatir dia akan menimbulkan mentaliti subsidi. Disebabkan terlalu banyak sangat bantuan diberikan, menyebabkan mereka susah untuk bergerak sendiri. Dan masih lagi mengharap bantuan demi bantuan demi bantuan. So, banyak bantuan pun kadang-kadang dia menimbulkan masalah juga. Sebab apa? Sebab dia tidak akan ada jati diri. Dia akan menjadikan bantuan tu sebagai matlamat mereka. Tetapi memang setiap industri, setiap sektor dalam SMEs memang terlalu banyak bantuan yang diberikan. Perikanan ke, agriculture ke, apatah lagi peruncitan dan sebagainya, memang banyak bantuan diberikan. Tadi saya senaraikan tadi, antara insentif-insentif yang diberikan juga fokus kepada beberapa industri tertentu. Tourism, setiap satu ada bukan bantuan-bantuan yang diberikan lah.
Did you think not good to support?
It is good, tetapi not in the long run. Kan ada pepatah Inggeris mengatakan, if you give me a fish, then I will eat fish for a day. But if you teach me how to fish, then I can eat fish forever. Kalau diberikan ikan, saya akan makan ikan habis sehari. Tapi kalau ajar saya macam mana menangkap ikan, saya boleh makan ikan selama-lamanya. So kalaulah mentaliti itu dijaga betul-betul, kita tak nak nanti, itulah maknanya kita tak nak beri ikan demi ikan demi ikan, habis makan, habis, tidak ada. Tidak ada keupayaan untuk menangkap ikan sendiri.
Tidak menunjukkan dewasa ya?
Right, benar Pak. Benar.
Okay, that is my question.
Okay, Yasmin.
Berarti sudah gimana Prof Baharom? What do you think? You still want to continue to answer the question from the students, or
you said there are 2 more questions. That is just those questions.
Because we still have time, right? So I will read the question for you. It's from Felicia again. Oh, okay, Felicia.
She's not satisfied.
No, it's a different question. As we know,
Okay.
the education in Indonesia hasn't evenly distributed well. Would it works well to people who are not well educated? Hmm, what it means
Saya
actually,
tak paham
Felicia?
soalannya. Bagaimana?
Yes, I'm quite confused. Probably I will ask later. Then we go directly to this next question. From Cindy. I want to ask about, does the student like us eligible to get funding from bank to start our business? Probably she wants to know about the Malaysia condition, the eligibility for student to get funding for business startup in Malaysia.
In many universities in Malaysia, we have a special program designed for young entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Even there are some courses at universities that offer entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, they also train to run their own business on campus. For example, they take part in the running of the university cooperative, kooperasi.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, as I said, there are some trainings offered by the government. And there are some students that eventually become entrepreneurs once they leave university because they have had enough experience while studying. And some students, I believe, they are very, you know, they are very entrepreneurial, meaning that they have all this experience, with businesses. And even now, some students, I believe, even you people, a lot of you have online businesses that you're running now. So these are also some of the experience that you can use to start your own business, on top of what is given by the university, on top of what is given by the government, right? For those students that eligible, if they have gone through all those training in entrepreneurship, there are some offers for funding as well, right? In terms of capital funding for them to start their own business. And also there are some, there's a department of entrepreneurship, which also caters for, training students to become entrepreneurs themselves. And so this meaning that there are lots of opportunities for students in Malaysia for them to be able to do that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good for the Malaysian student. Probably will.
But
Hopefully we'll have the same things.
but not many people are taking it up.
Why?
Yeah, unfortunately, again, as I said, a lot of things has to be changed now. For Malaysians, the way I see it personally, a lot of Malaysian students, especially the Malays, I'm not talking about the Chinese people, right?
Okay.
Chinese, they are very entrepreneurial. But
They have the business gene in their
yeah,
in their blood.
but for the Malays, personally, I think they are not really into that. They would rather work for someone,
Or civil servants.
become civil servants. That is the main
Yeah.
aim actually. They want to
Yes.
become civil servants. Why? Because they said it is a very secure job.
Yes.
Working for the government, you don't have to think about anything. You work for the private sector. If you're lacking, then you're out. But if you work for the government sector, regardless how bad you are, you can still stay in the government. Yeah, so they're not really into becoming entrepreneurs. There are some, but not as many, not as we have expected.
Well, actually, it's same things here. The mindset of parents actually hampers the student to become an entrepreneur. Like they do not support them to be entrepreneurs. So, but now I think there is a different trend because being an entrepreneur is a cool thing, and then you can get a lot of money instantly. But although it's in fact it's not necessary that when you're being the entrepreneur then you will be rich, but because now in Indonesia it's quite famous being an entrepreneur, so everyone wants to be the entrepreneur.
Everybody wants to become rich.
Yes, because of the kind of orientation. They don't know the real or the true being the entrepreneur. Okay, I think there's a last question before we go to our dean to do the closing remarks. From Piral, I want to ask if there are any theoretical frameworks. Wow. Yeah. Okay, very scientific, relating to the impact of digital marketing on business growth and performance for SMEs, especially in this pandemic. Probably you can share your research then.
Now, well, there are some theories, and even there are lots of research nowadays, especially focusing on this pandemic. Right? Even though if it's not focusing on the pandemic, we can also use the same framework for other issues as well. Right? You can look at the issues of the use of the internet, the technology, the term model. You can even look at the elements of service quality, e-service quality. You know, there's so many areas that you can focus on when you talk about this online business, right? But normally, again, it all depends on what is the objective of your research, right? So if the objective is to look at the viability of the internet, so perhaps you can use the e-service quality or the term model. Term model is actually looking at whether the computer or the website or even the software that using.
Is it the TAM? Do you mean the TAM?
Yeah,
Right.
yes, the term model. The
term model, yes.
Yeah. If you look at the physical side of it, then there's always the e-service quality. Right? Nowadays, instead of service quality, people are focusing on e-service quality because now they're using the internet.
Yes, exactly.
So there's no one specific theory that you can use. There's so many of them. It's just a matter of relating that theory to what we're doing now.
Yes.
Simple as that, right?
Okay, Pira, I hope you can get what the professor said. Professor mentioned about that TAM is like a technological acceptance model. And there is a new one, right, Prof? Like a UTAUT, right? UTAUT model.
Yeah, UTAUT
yes. So probably, Pira, you can check that in journals, especially for the latest journals, whether in Malaysia or in other countries, right?
As far as the models are concerned, they're all the same. You just have to, just put it based on the objective of the research.
Yeah, probably the acceptance during this pandemic more likely
perhaps,
because of it's a must that, but in the previous or before the pandemic, it's because of their intention.
Right.
Purely their intention. Okay, so I think, Prof, we have discussed you have answered all the questions. We have discussed a lot of things about the pandemic. I mean, the SME situation during the pandemic, especially on the stimulus package or the incentive or the support from the government towards the SME in Malaysia. So I think we already at the end of the event, and thank you very much once again for the informative and interesting talk or the insights and inputs for us. And probably we can, get the beneficial inputs to do in our country, our beloved country. Although there is a differences, of course, but I think the situation is quite the same, that we have, we call it disaster actually. So I hope everything getting better and the pandemic will over soon and everything we can overcome this. I hope everyone can have a good condition, stay healthy, everyone. And then, ladies and gentlemen, now I think we can welcome our Dean to give the closing remarks of this event. Silahkan, kami persilahkan kepada Pak Dekan, Profesor Dr. Ramli untuk memberi kata-kata penutup pada acara hari ini. Terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe these 2 days have been very interesting for all of us, and we already have with a fruitful insight for COVID-19 pandemic effect on small medium enterprise in Malaysia. We have learned a lot about small medium enterprise grow during pandemic from our amazing visiting lecturer, Associate Professor Dr. Baharom Abdul Rahman from UTM, Terengganu, Malaysia. Furthermore, I would like to thank all of our participants and my beloved student for participate in this world-class visiting professor program. I believe this class have been a good thing of this from our regular class as we aim for world-class university. Lastly, thank you for all of the community for organizing this visiting professor class and ensuring this event process a month smoothly. On behalf of community, I would like to apologize for any inconvenience that occurred during this class. Even though this is our last class session, I want to believe that this is not goodbye. I hope we will meet again in near future, virtual or directly. I do hope we will have more international collaboration opportunity in the future. Thank you, Dr. Baharom Abdul Rahman. Thank you, Yasmin, Chairunisa Muchtar, and all our participants. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Pak Dekan. Thank you very much for the closing remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, well, I would like to say highly gratitude to your active participation, yeah, our beloved students. And once again, it's really an honor for us to have you here, Professor Baharom, that you can share the situation during the pandemic for the SMEs for us here. And I really hope that, like the Prof. Dean said, that I hope this will be the start for our further collaboration, and it's really delightful if we can have another discussion with your students or with our students. Okay, and then thank you very much. Before I close this event, we have a photo session like usual as an evidence, Prof.
Understood.
Because this is online. Okay, so everyone please turn on your camera. Yes, smile, give us a big smile, right? Isbir or baby, please help us to take the photo. Thank you. I hope everyone stay healthy, especially during this pandemic situation. Thank you, Prof. Baharom.
Can I say something, Yasmin?
Okay, of course. Thank you. Please, Prof.
Okay, on our part, and also on behalf of UITM Terengganu, we would like to thank Prof. Ramli especially, and also the faculty members of the Faculty of Economics and Business of USU, and also the students for participating in this program. And this is good for our collaboration, and we hope that we will collaborate more in future. Now we are focusing on research between USU lecturers and also UITM Terengganu lecturers, and perhaps next time we will be looking forward for USU students to come and study in Terengganu. We can have exchange of students. We can have exchange of students. I believe that will be very interesting.
Yes.
And I heard that they're working on lectures exchange as well. So everything is on the pipeline. So hopefully everything will materialize, inshallah, and that we will have a very good collaboration between us. Knowing each other is very nice, and we do appreciate this understanding between USU and UITM. So again, we are thankful for this collaboration, alhamdulillah, and hopefully it will go on further. And on my part also, I would like to thank the students. I wish all the students the very best in your future undertakings, right? So focus on becoming an entrepreneur. Again, remember that if you are an entrepreneur, focus on your customer relationships, focus on being agile, focus on going digital, right? So that could be the key for your success in your business in the future, inshallah. Okay, so study hard, study smart, and hopefully, inshallah, kalau dipanjangkan umur, kita akan bertemu lagi, inshallah. So sekali lagi terima kasih kepada Prof. Ramli dan rakan-rakan di USU. Terima kasih dan Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So thank you very much, Prof, for the remarks. So I think that's all for today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you
Inshallah.
again.